You're live now,
Okay,
Crux.
great. Hello, I'm Crux Conception, and I'm here to talk about when stress meets tech. Talking about stress. Oh man, I woke up yesterday morning and I had the sniffles. And normally, if we were in a normal world, I would be, I'd go and get some Zycam, put it in my nose, blow my nose, drink some orange juice, and it's okay. But we're not in a normal society right now, normal world. So I was freaking out, man. I'm like, oh my gosh, first thing came to my mind, COVID. It's like COVID, and I started freaking out. And not to say that my stress or freaking out is worse than anyone else, but in 2017, I had H1N1 and double pneumonia, and I was giving a lecture. And I woke up 2 weeks later, and my family was around. And I'm not from Orlando; I'm from Indiana. And my family was around. My wife at the time was there, and they were around my bed. And that's something I'll never forget. So, um, just to share that with you, they are talking about added stress. So that freaked me out. So what we're going to talk about is when stress meets tech, and you're probably wondering what is what does this dude know about stress and tech? First of all, I had 23 years in law enforcement, federal as a federal agent, the United States government, and as a homicide detective in Indiana. Also, when I have a bachelor's degree in psychology, a master's degree in forensic psychology, and I'm working on my PhD in forensic psychology. So you're still saying, what's a cop doing at a tech conference? Whenever I speak at tech conferences, I always say that we have one thing in common, one key ingredient. Actually, it's the number one ingredient to my former profession and your current profession, and that's problem solving. And when I say that, I teach a lecture called team building because I use hostage negotiation skills, and I made it into a team building lecture and took all the cop stuff out. And when I say that, people go like this, and that it just shows that it's a thing called active listening. It lets the person know that you're listening. So I'm gonna talk. The outline of this lecture will give hope and inspiration as I recount my struggles, my own personal battles with communicating and asking for help and dealing with PTSD and depression. And I may say the word throughout the lecture. I may say the word consumer. That's a word that the psychology community and the mental health community use instead of patient. So forgive me for that. Another thing I wanted to talk about, we're going to talk about the key takeaways in here. We're going to talk about how to recognize the alertness regarding stress. We're going to talk about stress in the place of employment, mentally supporting yourself, recognizing the best method to how to deal with this. And you guys are probably saying, I spoke at a lecture last week and I gave this lecture, and the lady said, uh, we like to see your face. And eventually, later on through the conversation, I will show you my face. I will lift up. The thing is, the reason I'm doing this because it protects me from you, because of it's still I'm shy, and I've been speaking for a long time. Spoke 34 times last year, and I've been so I still do this, but when I stand up in person, I go like this, and it's not the old cop in me doing the defensive stance, like a traffic stop, going hand by the weapon or not like that. No, to me, this is my virtual wall, and it protects me from you. And I'm comfortable with that. And that's one of the mechanisms I use to handle with stress. And we'll talk about that too. Now, I spoke I was speaking last year in Dallas, and I did this lecture. And actually, I spoke in Utah, and I did this lecture. And the guy said, "Man, you should have told that personal story first." He said, "You would have captured us more." And so when I went to Dallas, and I still was scared of telling the story, and I'll tell you why. It's because I told this story to one of the attendees. I just happened to stop him in the hallway and I said, hey, can I tell you something real quick? So I told him what the speech I was going to do. And then I told him the personal story. And then I told him about what the attendee said in Utah conference. And he said, yeah, you need to tell that first before you go into the story. And the reason I'm hesitant about it is because I'm afraid that you'll judge me. And that's just something I have to deal with. On June 14, 2017, I was in my unmarked squad car. I was found unresponsive. Basically, I slumped over. I passed out at the wheel, and my unmarked police car, just rolled on a curve. And the only thing I am grateful for that happened that night is that I didn't kill anybody. I didn't hurt anybody. No one got injured. And I thank God every night for that. The responding officers came, they knocked on the door, they rolled down the window. The officer asked, hey, Jinx, and that's my nickname, or Jinx is my, let me go back. There's 17 of us in my family in law enforcement, so Jinx could refer to anybody. We got, I got relatives in Secret Service, FBI, the location in Langley, Virginia. And so the cop said, hey, are you okay, Jinx? What are you doing out so late? I looked up to him and I said, I want to kill myself. I'm going to Krieger Park to kill myself. And I have my loaded off-duty weapon, which was a 357 snub-nosed Magnum 357, loaded, cocked to go on the side of my passenger seat of my car. And the officer asked me to take a step out. He asked that I've been drinking, and what happened was, I said yes, and then I also told them that I had back pains. What happened was I had back surgery or back pains so severe the night before, I was in tears. I went to squad meeting like they do on Hill Street Blues, where the guy says, be careful out there. But this was for detectives and investigators. I went to squad meeting. I was in so much pain. I took the day off. I drove to my doctor. He gave me 3 injections in my back. He then also prescribed me painkillers and muscle relaxers. Now, unbeknownst to myself and my physician, the muscle relaxer minoxidil has known to cause bipolar effects in individuals. This was so bad, and when the story got out, I had what do you call them, ambulance chasers calling me saying, hey, yeah, we've heard about this. You want to sue? And I said no. But that's how it was, and it happened to affect me. I woke up that night, that night on the June 14th, wanting to kill myself. Some said, kill yourself. You're a terrible father, terrible husband. You're just a terrible man. Kill yourself. And I had no reason to kill myself. My wife and I just built a home. I'm working on my PhD. I was just assigned a new homicide unit, my own team to lead, and everything was fine. I did have an issue with my daughter. She was in a vehicle pursuit with gang members, and she did good. She was the only one that didn't run away. The gang unit called me, said, hey, come get your daughter. And I said no. I was so ticked off because I hate owing people favors, and I felt like and I hate for people to throw my name up. And I said, let her go to jail. And I regret it to this day. They took her to jail. She bonded, another family member bonded her out. She cooperated with the police, which is a no-no. And 3 girls came to her job, beat her up. Then I found out she was a victim of sexual assault the week before. And wow, all that. And I just, I didn't want, so when I took the pill, I took the whole bottle of pills, the whole bottle of minoxidil and the painkillers, because I was just like, kill yourself. I was so upset that I wasn't dead already, because I'm still awake. I drank half a glass of vodka to accelerate the death. Still didn't happen. I got in my car. To this day, I was so high, I literally thought I was in my personal vehicle, because I can see myself to this day punching the sunroof to my Jag to get the air to come in and roll the windows down so I can stay awake enough to get to the park to kill myself. And by the grace of God, God didn't want me to die that night, I'm thinking, and I was at a stoplight. I rolled over. I just passed out. My car just rolled on a curve, and a citizen saw it. Cops came running lights and sirens because from what the citizen said, hey, there's a male black in an unmarked police car. They said, how do you know it's a police car? It's because we had the Indiana municipal badge license plate, which is on all police cars in the state of Indiana. Instead of going to get me psychiatric help, which is our protocol, they took me to lockup and booked me for driving under the influence. And I was incarcerated, name in the paper. My daughter blasted me the day after that on the news. If you Google my name, I'm sure you can see the interview and the mugshot. And and so a year after that, I was on medical leave. A year after that, I retired. I didn't want to go back. I lost the love of it. I was their boy. I was that house Negro. I was that Uncle Tom. I did whatever they said. I never gave the department or anyone any problems. And they just, man, raped. It literally, I just felt like I was raped. And so I retired. I didn't want any more to do with it. And that's why I'm here today. We're going to talk about how to deal with stress. So hopefully you don't get as bad as I am. Please copy that name, that email. I'm very approachable. I just love talking to people. I am licensed, but I don't conduct therapy because I hate to say it, after 24 years of dealing homicides and investigations involving national security as a federal agent, I'm done dealing with other people's problems, but I can be there as a friend, as somebody just to listen to. I won't cast judgment or talk or say anything negative. I just listen. And that's what I feel that people need to do, is listen. Okay. Yeah, I was once angry. I was withdrawn. I wanted to blame the world and the police department for what happened to me, but it's not a blame game. It's about lives. It's about in need of mental wellness. And being here during this COVID, this is a perfect time, perfect opportunity to talk about this lecture. What happened to me, why I'm here now, why I'm not like, scratching my hair out or lack thereof. And as you can see, I'm looking at myself here and I'm like, okay, I'm getting more comfortable. My head's starting to raise up. And, I surrounded myself. I selected my team. I selected myself on my team. I gained, I was 230 pounds and ended up being 312 pounds by the medication. The medication made me eat. I had 3 individuals with me, a psychiatrist, a psychologist, and a therapist. I got rid of the psychiatrist because of the medication. I got rid of this psychologist, and I got rid of the psychologist because, ladies and gentlemen, it's none of my business, but if you're getting counseling and therapy, and you got a counselor or a therapist that looks at their watch or the clock, or makes you feel like you're wasting their time, or speeds you up, or they make you feel like you're just a paycheck to them, and they interrupt you while they're talking, and they give judgment, get rid of that person. Go, run. I kept my therapist, Dr. John Neubauer, and I say his name because I love the man. I give him much credibility. We did a thing called rapid response therapy. It was like hypnosis. I looked at a picture in his office. It was Jim Morrison, and another picture of the Brooklyn Bridge. And ladies and gentlemen, he said, put your hand like mine, don't touch it, feel the energy. I'm getting my PhD in psychology, ladies and gentlemen. I have a master's degree in psychology. I didn't believe in hypnosis. I thought it was nonsense. I woke up probably like 5 minutes later. When I did, I felt like I can conquer the world. I had so much energy. I had so much. That day I went home and I wrote 16 speeches for 16 different topics and regarding criminal profiler, which I am, criminal profiling, team building, behavioral science, team dynamics, mental health. And that's how it did for me. I weaned myself off the medication. I didn't totally stop cold turkey. I just cut my medication in half, and I just started taking it little by little till the bottle was gone. And then I finished it. And it was the greatest feeling. But caution, 70% of the population in this world who seek psychiatric attention do not need medication. They don't need medication. It's the 30% that do, the individuals that suffer from the severe schizophrenia episodes and the severe, I mean, talking about suicide. And when I mean suicide, as a hostage negotiator, I've talked to people, I talk people out of suicide. When I mean suicide, I mean the individuals that have attempted it, not the ones that wrote the note or called somebody and then hung up. And, those people need help as well. But I'm talking about the ones that did it, the ones that got the slash marks. They're the ones that have done it, that didn't want to be stopped, that didn't want to be talked out of it. Those individuals need the medication, but the other individuals, the 70% don't. Myself, depression, PTSD is not, in my opinion, is not curable. It's manageable, but not curable. Depression's curable. Depression is curable, but PTSD is not, because throughout your life, you're going to see things like myself. If I'm with my family or if I'm with my friends and I'm driving my car and a police car behind me, yeah, I'll get a little apprehensive. Or I see former police officers or former colleagues in uniform, yeah, I'll get apprehensive because it strikes back that episode. We're going to talk about the Dr. Dre method. My method, it's a method of humor and affection, and I call it the Dr. Dre. And it's named after the rap producer and founder of NWA, Dr. Dre. You'll learn how, but it just spells out Dr. Dre. It doesn't have anything to do with Dr. Dre. You'll download the cause of stress. You'll reroute the stress. You'll delete the stress. You'll reboot the stress, and you'll encrypt it. I labeled these because I wanted to dedicate this totally to the tech community. No one else. No one else will understand this speech because it's totally devoted to the tech community. Now, I'm going to go here. We're going to lighten it up a little bit before we get a little bit more serious. But this is what happens when you keep stress in and when you don't release it and it doesn't, and you don't let it out and you don't talk to anybody. You'll have an episode like this. Okay. And that just shows you, I like to lighten the load a little bit, but that just shows you what it is, what the pressure of working in an environment that brings stress. And that was stressful. He was playing a role, and that's what I did. I was that type of guy. Nobody knew me personally. And that's another thing that affected me. My life got blown out. I mean, everybody, my life became an open book. I was the type of guy for 24 years. Some people go to work and they put pictures of their kids or their wives, and they on their desk, and they talk about, they brag about their kids or their family or vacations. I didn't do that. Nobody knew that. Matter of fact, I talked to a guy when my daughter got arrested. He said, "Man, I didn't even know you had a daughter." I was like, wow, and I know this guy for 24 years. And that's how I was private. But then, when I was arrested, got my picture in the paper, my daughter blasted me, man, my life became an open book. I've spent 24 years to project this image, this bow tie wearing, funky suit wearing detective who was real, just professional about what he did, real diligent in his job, real charismatic. And that was the image I portrayed. And when I was exposed, I didn't know how to handle it. What they don't see, what people don't see, including people like myself from the outside looking in, working in the field of computer technology. And let me go back. I'm sorry, I apologize. Ladies and gentlemen, when I do my lectures, I research them. I do research. I just don't write them up. I sent out memos. Again, the tech community has been so great to me. I speak on law enforcement and mental health issues and psychology, and nobody from the law enforcement mental health society has ever approached me. All those 34 speaking gigs I got last year is from the tech community. And I love the tech community. And I don't know why they love me, but I'm just grateful for it. You guys have got me when I'm on stage. Hopefully next year I'll get back. You guys will bring me back, and you'll see. I like to get downstage and talk and shake hands and do role playing and interactive. I'm very, very animated. My students, I'm an adjunct professor. My students say, you know, I'm a mixture of Dr. Phil and Kevin Hart. I'm very animated. But working in the field, it can be a dream for others. To me, I think it'd be a dream just to sit at a computer desk, don't have to deal with the public and you know, because deep down inside, I'm an introvert. But it's not like that. And when I sent out 1,300 questionnaires to people that I've met at these conferences, and I had them sign them and had them not sign them, but I had them fill out the questionnaires and send them back to me anonymous without their names or anything like that. It was astounding. You know, it was just mind-boggling, actually, just mind-blowing, actually, how the tech community and how there's stress in the tech field. And when upon my research, I found out, and it's in this order: the three highest stressful jobs, the three highest stressful professions is in this order: law enforcement, tech community, and a medical profession. Law enforcement, tech community, medical profession. Three highest professions. The highest suicide rate goes to the medical profession. More people in medical profession commit suicide than they do in the tech and law enforcement. However, unfortunately, law enforcement is number 2, and then tech is 3. Working as a developer, a specialist, a designer, engineer, expert, manager, technician, these demand high levels of precision over an extended period of time, and any minute lapse in one job could be disastrous. These demands cause an increase in blood pressure and adrenaline, leading to stress and mental strain. Technicians and developers have a high level of psychological frustration. And again, this is from the questionnaires that I got back from peers in your profession, your community. During work hours, those who work continuously 50 hours a week, these individuals find themselves taking the job home with them. And as a homicide detective, I took the job home with me. And the signs of physical and emotional discomfort during their off hours could be disastrous. You could see it. You're not supposed to take your work home, ladies and gentlemen. We're not. And I have a suggestion on how to a solution to that later on. What they don't see, that sometimes the job can become tedious, high demands of work burden, an absence of control over the job itself, poor managerial interactions. I used to ask people, I turned my back if I was there in public, in person. I turn my back and I say, by a show of hands, how many people have awful managers? You know, I don't get to see it. I don't want to see it, but it gives them a chance to, you know, just by raising your hand is a stress release, because you finally get to say, yeah, I got a cruddy manager, you know, or he has poor interactive skills. Defective technology, working with defective technology or poor technology. That's like, you know, being a cop and they give you bullets, and your bullets are so old they've collected dust in your gun, in your magazine. Fear of losing a job. These remain the same occupational stressors that have been defined as problematic for a variety of professions, not just tech. If I'm talking too fast, I'm sorry, but I'm very passionate about this. Health issues, additional health issues. The typical health problems due to stress, acid reflux, alcoholism, asthma, diabetes, fatigue, tension, headache. I developed acid reflux after this. I developed fatigue. I developed tension, hypertension, insomnia. I took my blood pressure yesterday. I have to buy one of those blood pressure cups now because I have high blood pressure. Insomnia, difficult sleeping. I had a hard time sleeping. The medication that my psychiatrist had prescribed me helped me sleep, but it also made me gain weight. I would take the pill and then I'd wake up at 2:00 in the morning. I'd run upstairs and kill that refrigerator. I mean, I'd do damage to the refrigerator. And I ended up gaining 312 pounds. You know, if you go on YouTube and see me speaking at the Dallas DevOps, you'll see me. My belly is out there. I had developed I gained so much weight. Thank God I lost it. Sexual dysfunction. Yeah. Hey, I had to get the blue pill. My dad teased me, said, man, my dad's 70 some years old, former Green Berets, former police officer, retired sergeant. He said, man, when I was your age, I didn't need the blue pill, So skin irritation. These things are all caused by stress. Work pressure can be explained as a harmful physical and psychological reaction. Ladies and gentlemen, all those things there are manageable. All the things that I mentioned back here, these are manageable. And so we can do this if we have better better understanding of how to deal with stress and better coping mechanisms. And I'm not an expert, but it's worked for me. I lost 75 pounds in 4 months. And what I did was I researched Gandhi. I read a book about Gandhi, and I will never recommend what I did to lose the weight to you. That was unhealthy, but I was desperate. I'm on stage in London. I'm on stage and I'm breathing heavy. There's a video of me in Budapest. I'm on the stage and I'm just breathing heavy. So I had to do something and it was drastic measure, but hey, drastic was what I needed. These things arise when the demand of your career don't fit your capabilities, means, and requirements of the employee. Work stress can be, it results in illness as well as personal injury. Think of if I went to work stressed with a gun and a badge, you think that might not be a good idea? Yeah, you're right. It's not a good idea. I was placed on administrative leave for 30 days because of my breakdown. I had to go take a psych test to say that I was fit to go back to work. And I didn't want to do all that again. I didn't feel like I wanted to do it again. I wanted to show the world that I was cured, but I didn't want to go back and work for the Fort Wayne Police Department. Especially and then you find out that white officers had the same issue as you did, and they got taken to Parkview Behavioral and got medical psychiatric treatment. But me, I didn't. You don't want to go back there, and I'm so proud of myself for turning my back and walking away from something I love that didn't love me. Work-related stress happens to be one of the most significant health issues in modern world. Work stress arises in a response to both the work environment and the worker factor. So it's not just the work environment, it's not just the job, it's also you. You have a big part in this. You have a role to play in this. Like myself, I was to blame too. It wasn't just the Fort Wayne Police Department. The only thing they're guilty of is being incompetent and negligent. Other than that, I was the one that put myself behind that wheel. I was the one that, had that didn't want to let people in my personal life at work. So I built a barrier, and it was hard building that barrier, and it was hard. It was easy building a barrier, hard to maintain it. And that was stressful over 24 years. Work stress arises in response to both the work environment and the work factor. Again, okay. Lifestyle factors used to decrease stress. Utilizing one's social skills can help improve an individual lifestyle so much. It helped me a great deal, and we'll get into that. For instance, activities at the workplace. Build or use more often social media interactions. As a criminal profiler, as a gang unit specialist, I had social media accounts, but they weren't real social media accounts. They were fake social media accounts, so I can monitor the activity of illegal activities going on at both in my hometown and abroad. But what I liked about it was I got to interact. I didn't interact or type or say anything, but I got to saw the silliness that goes on in this world through social media. And I just sat back and I looked at it and laughed. I did. And I'm like, dang, I said to myself, dang, Crux, Stacy, but Crux is my name now. It's a pseudonym for crisis. And Crux Conception is a pseudonym for crisis intervention. But yeah, I noticed the silliness of it, and I'm like, wow, you're not so bad. There's other people that that they show their stress for the world, and these people were, I think for them to talk about it, express it to the world was an outlet. Schedule weekly, monthly outings with team dynamics with your team, but not at the job. Go karaoke and bowling or something. But what that will do, ladies and gentlemen, I've noticed it. You'll see a different side to your colleagues. You'll see a different side to the person sitting next to you or the cubicle next to you. You'll see the personal side of them, and when you see that, you'll go, wow, this person, he isn't so bad, or he or she's just like me. you know get a work wife or a work husband, a support system, strictly platonic. I had a work wife. She was my partner, and we talked. And I remember we sat up and watched the election in 2017, and we just sat up for hours just talking. And she was my work wife, and I like to think I was her work husband. And to this day, we still talk. And I still talk to her when I have issues, or I want to have problems, or I have problems. Request that your company implements a discounted rate to a fitness facility if you don't have one already. You'll be surprised at the discount. Employees in my hometown, if you work for the city in my hometown, you get a discount at a fitness facility, Anytime Fitness, Planet Fitness. I had one. I only paid $15 a month for mine, and it's because I wasn't because I was a cop. It's because I was an employee of the city of Fort Wayne. Or if you don't want to do that, especially nowadays in COVID, try walking or running. If that's not good, if that's not feasible, there's more things. Pick up a hobby, or if you have one already, devote more time to it. I'm a drone fanatic. I got 6 drones. DJI is one of my sponsors, and I fly them mugs. I fly them all the time. It's got so bad where I had so many drones. I would never intentionally crash a drone, but if it crashed that day, I'm like, cool, I can go get my my Mavic or my other thing. I can do that. And so get a hobby, devote to it. I'm big into photography and aerial footage and editing videos and mixing music like like a DJ. I mix music. It soothes me. I don't do it to throw parties or anything. I just do it because it soothes me. I made a mix the other day of Frank Sinatra mixed with a gangsta beat, and it was off the hook. It was tight. If you're on Facebook, you'll see me sometimes on Facebook. I'll get on and I'll start mixing live. Be yourself. Let that silly odd sock come out. We all have that silly little odd sock that comes out in your mental drawer. Let it come out sometimes. You'll be surprised. People will say, hey, I didn't notice that. And I remember one time when I first let the silliness come out in me, a buddy of mine, he said, dang Jenkins, you funny, you real cool when you tell a joke. Wow, you're a different person. Talk to yourself, but in private, of course. You don't want to do that in public. There's nothing wrong with having a healthy discussion with yourself, a healthy mental dialogue with yourself. I did it, and you know what? I wasn't a religious man. I wasn't a religious man until after this, because I was thankful that nobody got hurt. So I devoted my life to God after that. But I wasn't before that. I wasn't. I'm like, man, I'm like, I would go to church, go in one ear, out the other. But what I found out was eventually I started talking to God. Instead of talking to myself, I ended up I was praying. I had a conversation with God. I don't pray. I talk to him. I have a conversation with him. Meditate. Focus on your breathing. Breathing helps. Like I said, I had high blood pressure. I have the blood pressure cup. I was just messing around with it yesterday, and I inhaled through my nose real deep. Held it and let go. And if you do that, why don't we do that right now? Everybody inhale. Hold it, 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 hold it. Now breathe through your mouth. You're relaxed. If you had one of those blood pressure cups like I did, it was astonishing. The bottom number is usually in the 90s. I did that with that cup, and my number went to the low 80s. And meditate, focus. I meditate 3 times a day. I think about things, good things, healthy things, happy things. Visualize yourself performing before doing. And you know what? We all do it. We do it when we drive. When you're going to make a turn and you turn signal, you look and you see that car behind you. You don't turn yet. You stay ahead, but you know where that car is and you visualize yourself making that turn before you do into that lane. And we can, if you can do it while you're driving, you can do it at work. You can do it at your job. I started out doing slow things. What works for me may not work for you. You just have to mess around with it a little bit, but it's fun. And you notice what you're noticing, ladies and gentlemen, is that you're taking control of your life again. That's the key. When you take control of your life, and you find that you're regaining control of one's passions, one's desires, one's emotions. A lot of people say that emotions can't be controlled. That's true to an extent. But when you visualize yourself reacting before, before doing, it's just like talking. If someone says something to you and you pause before you say, that's the same thing. It's just like visualizing yourself doing something. So try it, please. Give yourself a me day, not me time. Notice a me day. And what I mean by that, I'm a big MASH fanatic, big MASH fan. Just 2 weeks ago, though, I had I gave myself a me day. I'm retired now, and I don't travel now because of COVID. I had a me time. I sat, and what I mean by that, you let your family, your friends, everyone know, hey, this is a me day. So, don't bug me. This is for me. And totally me, not the kids, not the wife, nothing, me day. And all I did, I binge watched MASH for the whole day. I ended up, it's 11 season series. I ended up watching 8 seasons. And you know what? A lot of people say, well, damn, that's a waste of time. You know what? No, it wasn't for me, because at the end of the day, I took control of my life. I took my life back. And that's what the thing is when you talk about me. And that's why I have the word me in quotes, because that's what it's about. It's not about what you do. You can do anything. You can go work out for all day. You can go driving all day, bicycling, sightseeing. It's not about that. It's about devoting that day to you, me. And when you get done with that day and you look back on it, you stick your chest out, like, yeah, I got my day back. I took control. Keep a positive mindset. And we'll talk about this again. Even in negative situations, keep a positive mindset. And what I mean by that, for example, the positive mindset I would talk about would be if say for instance I got in a disagreement with my twin brother. I have a twin brother. He's an FBI agent. We're totally different. They call me the evil twin. He's like, I don't know if you ever see this television show, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. He's exactly like Carlton. He uses his white voice his whole life. And yeah, there, ladies and gentlemen, I can't see your faces. I wish I could, but yeah, Black people in the Black world, we use our white voice, like, hello, Jenkins, man, help you, and we use our Black voice, and my brother uses his white voice all the time. And he's the type of guy that, put it like this: when I first got my drone, I took it up, I flew it, and I just took it out of the box, didn't even charge it up. I flew it. It hit the siding of my house so bad. We just built the house. It looked like somebody did a drive-by shooting in the back of my house. I called my brother, told him, he said his words were, "You never read the directions," but he said it whiter, and that's how he is. But then with that said, we got into a disagreement, and I found a positive note out of what he said, and I made a positive mindset out of that. He said that, man, you're losing too much weight. You're starting to look skinny, and look unhealthy. And that was negative, but the positive thing was he noticed that I was losing weight, and that was positive, because for 2 years I'm walking around people saying, whoa, you gained weight, because Black people can be rude. Black people can be rude, especially when they think they know you, and they think they can approach you, and they look at you, dang, man, you gotten fat. My uncle does that. That's why I avoided my uncle for a year, because he would say, dang, you got fat, and that was hurtful. So that positive mindset, what my brother said to me, meant that he noticed it. So whatever people are saying, you could take a positive situation. You could take a positive situation out of a negative moment anytime. You could take a positive word from a negative conversation. It's possible, but you have to have control. Now we're going to talk about the Dr. Dre method. Again, not by Dr. Dre, but Dr. Dre. Download the cause of stress. Determine what is causing that stress. Again, my uncle said I was gaining weight. I avoided him. I'm not a confrontational person. And that's probably why I'm divorced today, because my wife wanted, to her, it was a sign of weakness that I didn't argue back. But hey, for 8.5 hours, I'm out taking people's liberty away. I'm taking their rights away. I'm doing search warrants. I'm taking their property away. I'm taking their DNA away when I do cotton swabs. I'm telling them to sit down. I'm handcuffing them to a chair. Last thing I want to do is tell somebody what to do in my own home. So that's why I avoided arguments. But the cause of stress, and that was a stress, and I noticed it, and it was unhealthy. My uncle calling me fat, that was unhealthy. I avoided it. Whatever you do to alleviate that stress, fine. But for me, I'm not a confrontational person, so I would not confront my uncle. He's my uncle. I show respect. I was brought up to show respect to your elders. So the best thing for me to do is avoid it. Use a mental router to direct the stress to a secure site in your mind. If you cannot ignore the stress, find a place to route it out, and a location in your head when it's safe, somewhere in your place. Like, for instance, if you close your mind and you think to yourself, you can actually put something away. It's just like if you go to work and you have a to-do list and you don't write, but you have a mental to-do list. A lot of us do, not me, but I write my list down. But a lot of people keep a mental to-do list. It's the same as doing a mental to-do list. I got this from an individual in the tech community. In London, he told me this, and I said, "Hey, you mind if I steal this? I'm gonna write this," because it made sense, and he told me that it works. Learn to delete future stress elements. It's up to you. Once you discover what is causing the stress, delete it by what you did in the past to get rid of it. A lot of us ghost people, or not ghost people, but a lot of people, what they call. I said I had social media as a federal agent, but as Crux Conception, I'm only 2 years old in social media. If you look at all my social media, it's only 2 years old, so I'm new at it. But if I see something negative, matter of fact, there was a guy somebody, Al Sharpton, was talking about Washington, D.C. At the conference, because I wanted to go there and speak about social justice and Black Lives Matter. And I gave him a thumbs up on his Facebook, and this guy is African American too, said something real nasty about Al Sharpton. And what ticked me off, no, I'm sorry, I'm gonna say pissed me off, because what pissed me off, I tried my best to be drama free on social media. I do my best. I don't post things about drama. I don't post fake news. I don't try to talk about political issues too much. I just talk about speaking and talking, and my book, writing my book. And I associate, if you look, I only associate with people who are either in the tech community, speaking community, or authors. I don't friend people in the mental health community or law enforcement community or people from my hometown. If you see, there's people from all over, and I associate with them because I want to keep it friendly, not professional, but friendly, a friendly environment. This guy, and what I saw was the name Crux Conception. And then he said such and such about Reverend Sharpton. And that ticked me off. And I could have clapped back on him. I could have clapped back hard on him. And I wanted to so bad, but all I did was I deleted my comment. And you know what? It bothered me. It bothered me that this individual thought that he can approach me like that, put my name in his mouth and type something. And the hood in me wanted to come out, but instead what I did was I thought about it. I sat back, I looked back, and I just deleted the comment. I moved on. That's it. Reboot yourself to focus on a positive aspect. It may seem futile, however, there are bright sides to negative situations, as I said. Focus on anything, ladies and gentlemen. I mean anything which has a positive outcome from that was what's once stressful in your life. again, it was a positive outcome for me to hear from my brother that I didn't look healthy. He was right. He knew that I was doing the Gandhi diet, which is unhealthy. I would never suggest to anybody that you fast for 20 days. I didn't fast for 20 days. I fasted for 5 days because I looked and saw that the body breaks down after 5 days. So I fasted for 5 days, and then on the 6th day, I pigged out, and I ended up losing 75 pounds in 4 days. 4 months. But I'm done. I don't do it anymore, because I noticed I started to get like lethargic, and yeah, my jaws were soaking in, and yeah, my six pack was back. I was happy for that, but I looked at that as a negative. The negative part was unhealthy. The positive part was people noticed that I gained weight. I noticed I lost weight, and it made me feel good, and I was desperate. I had to do something. So again, I don't judge, so don't judge me. Encrypt your mind to secure the positive parts. Once you have learned that method that are positive solutions, why throw them away? Lock it in your mind. Use it again. Heck, give it a password if you want. Like my grandmother used to say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Ladies and gentlemen, you may think that I try to be transparent as possible. And if I was too transparent, as I was too open, said some things, I'm sorry, but I like being transparent. I like being an open book. Get in contact with me. Write me. I'll give you an excerpt of my book for free. I'll just only give you 4 chapters because the other chapters are kind of out there, but and that's the meat. That's the meat of the book, and so that's what. But the other part talk about my time and when the officers made a mistake. When they realized they made a mistake and was supposed to send me to get psychiatric help, they ended up having a judge commit me for 7 days in a psychiatric hospital. And that's in the book. And not the funny part, but the sad part, the tragic part of it is, again, there's 17 of us in law enforcement. They call us jinx. They know us. They've had investigations with us, broke bread with us, been to our houses, and not one person called my family. My wife didn't know my wife at the time didn't know I was there until 2 days later. And that's because a friend of mine, Captain Tom Bader, I love the guy to death. He did it on his own. He called my wife and told her where I was, and he's been with me to this day. Matter of fact, I just missed a call from him. He's the greatest guy in the world, but you don't want to mess with him because he's thorough. I remember he's a thorough man, so I don't want to get off the subject, but I am. But ladies and gentlemen, get in contact with me. And like I said, I had a great time.
Thank you, Crux. Thank you for speaking.
Sir. Thank you. You guys have a blessed day. I'll be on Slack if anybody wants to talk to me. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.